So you were continuing this promo talking about how the WWF title win in Worcester in '98 meant so much to you, but that there were so many belts that almost anyone could have won. He said in his final act he wanted to make the belts mean something again, so he announces it's IC versus US, WWF versus WCW tag title, and unification matches. And he talked about a cruiserweight unification, but said nobody had even seen X-Pac, and that Tajiri would be wrestling Regal on the pay-per-view. The crowd didn't react much to this, and once he said he was gone and this was his last act, it took him down. He even sort of put over Regal, saying Regal agreed with him about the titles, which was strange to sort of put Regal over as the face. He also mentioned that the previous week when TV was in Nassau in the Meadowlands, that he was there both nights, but they had nothing for him.
Yeah.
He seemed upset in particular that on Long Island, where he grew up, they couldn't find a reason to get him on Raw, which was a true story. In hindsight, it appears that some people were pushing for getting him back on TV because of his popularities, but others didn't want him.
Well, look, I was having trouble with WWE at that time.
How so? Why?
How so? I can't undersell the magnitude of the pressure as far as being in the public eye. That, like I said, it was like being a rock star without the rock star trappings. Yeah, it was kind of overwhelming, and I didn't feel like I was being compensated for that. I just kind of had it. I mean, look, I banned WWE from my Today Show appearance on Halloween, which no one's ever done, because they do things their own way. And so I was the one who had to explain to my artist, Jill Thompson, why she hadn't been paid yet. So I was on in May with Foley is Good. They invited me back for October. And I asked that WWE not be allowed in the studio, which had never been done. And, you know, when I cut that promo on the plane, I did tell Vince that if he needed me to, like, tie up the loose ends, I'd be happy to do that. So my last moment as commissioner was when he brought me. I flew into Charlotte, was driven to the private airport to get on Vince's plane, the corporate jet, get fired, and then walk off. And I saw the Nature Boy, you know, as I was leaving. He became the new authority figure. I just kind of had it. I don't know how to explain it, but I just kind of had it. I was so frustrated. I mean, you know, all right, now it's coming to me. The truth is, when my book came out May, the New York Times did an article in which I said I was thinking of writing a novel. Judith Regan made me an offer out of hand.
Yeah.
We can either do this with WWE or we can do it without them. I said, look, they're involved in just about everything. One thing they hadn't had the foresight to include was a potential novel. And looking back at it now, it probably would have sold better as a WWE project. B, it wouldn't have meant much anyway. But it was really important to me
to do something outside.
And Vince, for all his great qualities, he doesn't let up on things like that. So I asked to be let out of my contract a year early. I think I asked that in July. We hemmed and hawed, and then you can ask JR about grilling JR, where he saw me at Nashville Coliseum, and he said, Mick, he said, we're at a situation where we think if we make you fulfill the rest of your contract, that we will likely not be able to do business anymore. But Vince and I talked, and we thought if we were to let you out now, we would be in a position where we could do business down the line. Do you think that's fair? I said, yeah, I think that's fair. And so I left. And then I was brought back in November to make that promo and cut that promo, and was brought back a week or two later to Charlotte to get fired publicly, which I was glad to do because it did tie up those loose ends. And I remember on my way out of Nassau Coliseum, not knowing if there would be any other TV episodes, I saw Stacy Keibler, who I only knew a little bit because she came in July, and this is only a few months later, but I liked her. I had a nice friendship with her, and I'm starting to walk out, and I was like, my conscience is calling out to me, like, this business is going to get to this beautiful young lady and try to put pressure on her to make changes I don't think she needs to make. So I said, can I talk to you for a second? She said, sure. I said, sometimes in this business, people think because things usually are a certain way, they need to be this way. And she looks at me and goes, are you talking about my boobs? And I said, as a matter of fact, I am talking about your boobs. She goes, don't worry, I'm not getting a boob job. And I said, okay. and I left. That's exactly what I wanted to. I didn't want anyone to put pressure on her to do something that I thought.
She had clearly thought about it.
Yeah, and that was what I thought would be my last, moment in WWE. And a year and a half later, when I came back, she was the first person I saw when I opened up the door, and it was like I'd never left. But it was such a difficult thing to even leave that hotel room because I did not know whether I could ever go back again.